or welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today we're going to be doing a trope recommendation video for single parent romances. I have done this video before, so I will link that previous one down below if you haven't seen it yet. I'm pretty sure I've only done it once, but if I've done it twice, I'll link them both down below. But this video is going to feature entirely new recommendations for you guys of ones that I have read relatively recently, since the last video came out at least, and they are all romances that feature a single parent. So I have quite a few, so I'm just gonna get right into it. The first one they have is one that I actually read super recently. It's actually the first book that I read in 2024, and that is P.S. You're Intolerable by Julia Wolf. I loved this book. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I honestly don't know why I gave it 4.5 stars. I said that in my wrap-up. I couldn't give you a reason why I didn't give it 5 stars. I'm just odd, but this book is about a heroine who is actually pregnant, and she is alone. The father of her baby dipped, and she needs a job, and she has just moved back to town after spending a ton of time abroad, and she gets a job as the personal assistant for a CEO of this company, and the CEO's name is Elliot, I believe, and he is like a super grumpy CEO, and he actually doesn't even realize that the heroine is pregnant, and she ends up working for him as his assistant. And when he finally gets it pointed out to him that she is pregnant, he wants to help her out. And so once he figures out her situation, he has her move in with him, and he becomes so involved. And when the baby is actually born, it is so cute, and he really takes on a helping role with the baby. He becomes so close with the heroine and with the baby, and they end up falling in love, and they form this cute ass little family, and it's just absolutely adorable. And I had honestly never read a book like this one where she was pregnant when they met. I don't think I've read that before, and it was so good. I would highly recommend it, and it's just fantastic. The next one that I have is actually an MM romance, and that is The New Guy by Serena Bowen. This is, like I said, an MM romance, and it's also a hockey romance. One of the heroes in this one, whose name is Gavin, he is an athletic trainer for the hockey team. He just got a new job, and he is actually a widower. He was married to this man, and they were raising a child together, and when his husband passed away, he is now left as the single father of this young child, this young daughter, and he ends up getting a job as an athletic trainer for the Brooklyn Bruisers. And so he moves to Brooklyn with his daughter to start this job, and they end up moving across the hallway from this guy named Hudson Newgate, who is actually new on the Brooklyn Bruisers. He's the new guy on the team, and he is constantly getting traded, and he has a huge secret. He is gay, and nobody knows this, and he doesn't feel like he's able to come out on the hockey team, and he ends up meeting Gavin one day, and they're about to have a one-night stand when he realizes not only does he live across the hall from him, but he also works with him now. And so he panics because now Gavin knows his secret, but they end up forming an amazing romance. I love Hudson so much. He was such a sweetheart, and he became so close with Gavin's daughter, and it was just absolutely adorable, and I really loved this one. So good. The next one that I have is Fall Into Temptation by Lucy Score. This is book 2, I believe, I think it's called the Blue Moon series, and you could totally read this as a standalone. This one is about a hero whose name is Beckett, and he lives in this small town. He's actually the mayor of the small town, and he owns this guest house, I guess, on his property. It's the heroine in this one, whose name is Gianna, ends up moving into the house on his property with her. I think she has 2 kids. She has 2 kids, and she is new to town. She just opened a yoga studio, I believe, in town, and the hero is like absolutely not looking for anyone to have a romance with. He is used to the kind of like crazy ladies in the town because he's considered like a super eligible bachelor. He's hot, he's the mayor, and he's just so sick of dealing with these people. And so when Gianna moves into town and he is kind of struck by her, he is a little not sure what to do, but they end up having an amazing romance, and it is so good. And this small town romance is so fun with the like mingling town. They like to poke their nose into everything, and they have this like organization. I think it's called the Beautification Committee. I think that's what they call it. And it's just a group of people in the town who are like try to matchmake the people that they think should be together. And so all of the people in the town are like meddling with them, and their parents are also dating. That was a thing that I think I remember in this book. The hero's mom and the heroine's dad are dating, so that was funny. And it's just an all-around great time. So small town. It's so good. The next one that I have is Forbidden Hearts by Corinne Michaels. This is a nanny romance with a single dad. The hero in this one, he is a single dad in the town, and I believe that he is some kind of first responder. I think he is a police officer. Yes, so he's actually the sheriff of the small town that they live in, and the heroine is struggling. She's actually in graduate school but has recently left because she had a relationship with her professor, and she gets super embarrassed and everything when people find out, and so she ends up dipping out of school. She's like, I can't go back there, but she doesn't want to tell her family, her father about it, and so she's like, oh, I'm just home for the summer, it's fine, but secretly she's like, I'm not going back, and she ends up needing a job, and the hero is super desperate. So the hero is a single father, and he co-parents basically with his, I think the mother of the baby. He never had like they were never married or anything, but she is going away for some kind of trip for the summer, and so the hero is going to have full custody for the whole summer, and his daughter is deaf, and so he needs somebody who knows sign language to be the nanny, and the heroine happens to know sign language, and the hero is desperate, so even though he does not want to hire her because she's known for being kind of chaotic, he has no choice, and so he ends up hiring her to stay with his daughter, and they end up having a romance, and the hero is so grumpy and the heroine is so chaotic, and they just shouldn't mesh, but they do, and it's so, so good. I had such a great time with this. I am not a huge fan of Corinne Michaels in previous books that I had read from her. I had read, I think, 2 or 3 books from her and not loved them. They were just not really my vibe. But this one, I really, really liked, and I'm definitely going to read the next one in this series, which I think is coming out soon. But this is the Whitlock family series, and I was just having a great time with it, and I would recommend this one. The next one that I have is a very similar premise, and that is One and Only. The heroine in this one has a father who is very sick, and she overhears him say that he is gonna miss the fact that he isn't gonna be able to walk his girls down the aisle because none of them are married, and he's afraid he's going to die. And so the heroine, after overhearing this, decides that she is going to get married, and she tries to find a marriage of convenience, somebody to marry her so that her father can walk her down the aisle before he dies. And she ends up meeting the hero, whose name is Beckett, and they decide that they're going to get married for a year and then they'll get divorced, but so her father can walk her down the aisle, and he has his own reasons. He is a father, and his ex, I think it's an ex or somebody, the mother of his child is again going away, and he's gonna have full custody for a while, and the mother of the child is very nervous about leaving her child with the father, and so he ends up telling her that he is engaged to the heroine, and so that would like make the mother of his child much more comfortable because he won't be alone taking care of the child. And they end up having a marriage of convenience and falling for each other, which was not in the plans, and it's such a fun one. I had a great time with this, and I love this whole like family that they have in here. The heroine has a large family, and you meet them in, I think you meet them in The Crush by Carla Sorensen. I can't remember, but you meet them in one of her previous books, but you could totally read this one as a standalone. But she has like so many siblings, and it's so fun and good, and I would highly recommend it. The next one that I have is actually a historical, and that is Nobody's Duke by Scarlett Scott. This is one that I read super recently. Also, I read it in 2024, and this one, the heroine has been married to this guy for a while, and he ends up getting killed in like a political plot. He was this like high up guy in politics, and he gets killed by these guys who are part of this group that are fighting for Irish independence, and the heroine is now considered in danger. Her and her son are now considered in danger because they think this group might come after them. And so this, they call it the Home Office, but it's basically these like people who work for the government are assigned to, they assign a bodyguard to the heroine and her son to make sure that she is safe. But the bodyguard happens to be the man that the heroine was in love with back when they were younger. They were actually supposed to get married. They were in love, but both think the other one betrayed them, and they didn't end up getting married. And she has a secret, and it is wild, but I don't know if it's a spoiler, so I'm not going to say it, but she has a secret about her child, and the hero ends up coming in, and he does not want to take care of her because he again thinks that she betrayed him, but he ends up they end up rekindling their relationship, and it's a second chance romance, and this one is so good. I absolutely loved their romance, and it was so sweet. And I'm not a huge second chance romance person, but this worked really well for me, and I loved the tension. I loved their romance, and the hero in this one has a nickname for the heroine. So the heroine's name is Era, and he calls her Era Mine, and I just think it's so cute, and I would like swoon every time he said it, and I loved it, and I would highly recommend it if you're looking for a historical. This is also an indie historical author, so would recommend. All right, the next one that I have is After the Storm by Laura Pavlov. This is the last book in the Cottonwood Cove series, but you could probably read it as a standalone, although you should totally read the rest of the Cottonwood Cove series. It's fabulous. But you could read this one as a standalone if you wanted. This is also a second chance romance, which, I mean, look at me liking second chance romance, but this one is a single dad second chance romance. So this one takes place in a small town in Cottonwood Cove, and the hero and the heroine were in love when they were younger. And they ended up not being able to stay together because of the way that they grew. Like, their lives were going in different directions, and they ended up splitting up, and the heroine ended up very quickly getting married to somebody else, and the hero ended up having a one-night stand with a woman and getting her pregnant, and he becomes a single father because the mother of the baby like left. And so now it's, I think, like 5 or 6 years later, and the heroine comes back to town to take care of her father who's been injured, and she is also running away because she's getting divorced. And she comes back to town, and the hero and the heroine see each other again, and their love for each other never went away, and it immediately rekindles, and they have a lot of pain from their separation from the past, but they've always been each other's person, and it is so good. And the way that the heroine accepts the hero's daughter is just, it's so good, and I loved this book so much. Laura Pavlov, wow. This book just like annihilated me, but their romance is so good, and the hero like never like let go of his love for the heroine, and it's so freaking good. Please read it. But I think that's the last one that I'm gonna go with for this video. I should probably do another video, so if you want more single parent romances, let me know, because I could probably do another video. But that's gonna be it for this one. So I hope that you can find a recommendation that you like. If you have any recommendations for me, please leave them in the comments, and leave me the emoji with like the parent and the kid. I know there's an emoji for that with like the dad and the baby. So if there's an emoji for that, leave that in the comments if you don't have a recommendation. But that's gonna be it for this video. So like it if you liked it, subscribe, stick around and see more content from me. And I hope that you have the absolute best day. Bye.